The Battle of Knockdoe is arguably the bloodiest recorded battle in Irish history, with casualty estimates ranging from 2,000 to 9,000, although between 3 and 4,000 is the most likely. It was fought on and around a hillock in County Galway on August 19th in 1504 AD. The two main protagonists were two Anglo-Irish lords, Gerald Fitzgerald, Earl of Kildare, the Lord Deputy of Ireland. He was one, or if not the most powerful man in Ireland, not only from a powerful dynasty holding large tracts of land, but he was the first to bring cannons to Ireland, being at the forefront of modernising warfare in Ireland. And the Earl's son-in-law, Ulick Fionn Burke, 6th Lord of Clanricarde. Known as the Galway Burkes, a warlord from another powerful Norman descent family. With an eye on expansion, he had spent many years attacking the O'Connors, O'Kellys, O'Donnells, and his kin in the north of Connacht, the MacWilliams Burkes. He sought to establish his authority over all Connacht, including County Mayo, where the other branch of the great De Burgh or Burke family held power. He also pursued his family interests at the expense of the chartered free towns of Galway and Athenry, which, despite their remoteness from the Pale, were notable for their loyalty to the Crown government in Ireland. It appears Burke made great use of his Gallowglass shock mercenaries, to such great effect that it is recorded that none could withstand his army. Although both families were of Norman stock, the Weston Burkes were integrated into the Gaelic world, whereas the Fitzgeralds of the Pale, although Gaelicised, retained cultural, social and political links to England. Fitzgerald became concerned that Burke's attempt to gain supremacy in Connacht could threaten the Crown's interest in that province. Although Fitzgerald was no friend of the king, his claim to be paramount magnate in Ireland was under threat from the Burkes' growing strength. He had tried to persuade Burke to acknowledge his authority by giving him his daughter in marriage, but Burke resisted all attempts to have his power subordinated by the Earl of Kildare, forming an alliance with the O'Briens of Thomond and the Magnates of Munster. The MacWilliam Burkes of Mayo, on the other hand, joined forces with Kildare in an attempt to suppress their dangerous kinsman from continuing his attacks on their territory. In 1503, Ulick Burke attacked and destroyed the O'Kelly castles of Monivea, Garbally and Castle Blakenny. Burke then went on to attack the free town of Galway. The O'Kellys requested aid from Fitzgerald. With a request for help, and in the feigned interest of protecting the Crown's power in Connacht, the Lord Deputy Fitzgerald had all he needed to attack Burke. Fitzgerald marched his forces into the lands of Clanricarde. Burke's forces went out to face him. On the 19th of August 1504 AD, the armies met a mile outside of Lackaghmuseum. Fitzgerald was the first to arrive, and thus was given the opportunity to position his men favourably on the hill. A low 2-foot wall ran along his ranks, with the sun rising behind him. Fitzgerald was supported by the MacWilliam Burkes, some Old English from the Pale and Drogheda, and a confederacy of Irish clans, including the O'Donnells, O'Neills, O'Hanlons, McMahons, McDermotts, O'Connor Rose, O'Farrells, O'Reillys, McGuinness, O'Kellys, as well as some Anglo-Irish lords, giving him a force of 6,000 men in total. Clanricarde was supported by the O'Briens of Thomond and the Aran Islands, the McNamars, O'Carrolls and O'Kennedys, giving him a force of 4,000 men in total. Both sides had large contingents of Gallowglass mercenaries, supplied by the Gallowglass clans in Ireland. The clans include the McCabe's, the McSweeney's, the McDowells, the McSheehys, the McDonalds and McCrorys, some clans having men within both armies. Both armies faced each other, with Burke's army stretched out to try and match the Kildare army's line. His army was a mix of Gallowglass heavy shock troops, assisted by their Irish Cairn light auxiliary units, some with bows and primitive rifles, but most with spears and darts, and a small contingent of cavalry to his left. Fitzgerald's army also consisted of Gallowglass and Cairn troops, mostly brought by his Irish allies. Along with his own Gallowglass, billmen and longbow archers supplied from his own levies, and his cavalry to his right, He kept his 17-year-old son guarding the baggage train at the rear, and he kept his old English troops out of the battle. Battle cries from Clanrickarde's army, such as Lolé Durabu, the strong hand to victory, shouted by the O'Briens, as they followed the ancient tradition of demoralising your enemy, a tradition banned by English law. A law where Irish customs and weapons were not to be used. By most accounts, the Clanrickarde army charged first, the Gallowglass looking to hit hard and break the enemy lines. They ran up the hill with the sun in their eyes and were met by a volley of arrows. Many fell, but they refused to stop, and they hit the Kildare lines like a tidal wave. What followed next was a slugging match, neither side giving an inch. There was no tactical sophistication at play here. Both sides would pummel each other until one or the other broke. The long-handled axe, the preferred weapon of the Gallowglass, was not ideal for this type of situation. It was not suited to close combat, and this probably put Burke's forces at a disadvantage here against Fitzgerald's brill men. Through the thick of the battle, challenges were called amongst old enemies. One such instance was the McSweeney chief challenged Lord Darcy and defeated him. The McSweeney chief was then challenged by Lord Nagle of Navan and then was killed. The first record of a man killed in battle by a gun in Ireland happened when one of the Fitzgerald's men beat to death another man with his handgun. The battle lasted most of the day, but it was Burke's army that broke first. Burke's main force tried to regroup at the River Clare, but there was just too few to contend with the army bearing down on them. Although the cavalry never took part in the battle, Clanrickarde's cavalry did manage to destroy the Lord Deputy's baggage train. Other retreating groups had made their way to Annabally and Ballybrone, where they were slaughtered and buried. Ballybrone translates to Town of Sorrows. The Kildare army moved to Galway, where they were greeted as heroes and celebrated their victory. Burke fled but was never caught. He died 5 years later. The battle was the bloodiest in Irish history, with many Irish chiefs said to have been killed, but its main importance was it was the beginning of the end for traditional Irish warfare. Ireland had played little or no part in the English War of Roses, and its lords were a powerful threat to the new Tudor king. This battle proved that England needed to pay closer attention to the island and its powerful lords. Eventually, Henry VII's son Henry VIII would follow through on his father's ambition to bring Ireland to heel. Thus followed the Tudor conquest of Ireland and the death of Gaelic Ireland. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more of Irish and Scottish clans and more, please like and subscribe to my channel.